This is Mai Valentine, and you're watching Stephen Blocker's channel.
Nothing encapsulates missed opportunity in Yu-Gi-Oh! More than Mai Valentine. One of the most popular, non-main characters in Yu-Gi-Oh's original Duel Monsters anime. A definite fan favorite. She was a breakout character who won fans over for being well-designed, aka hot, but also for having a really good character arc with lots of development and tons of missed potential, especially when you consider that she was just a supporting character. While made fun of for losing many of her battles, she was shown to be very capable of doing well, and also gave Yugi the fight of his life in Duelist Kingdom, easily the closest he came to losing at that point, winning only because he bluffed really well, and then later in the same duel by drawing just the card he needed. His back was actually so far against the wall, he needed to debut a new type just to win, that being the debut of Ritual Monsters and Blackluster Soldier, which showed that Mai was a cut above the rest. She almost beat Merrick as well, but then we found out Winged Dragon of Ra had a sphere mode we never knew about. God, this scene pissed me off when I was 7. So that begs the question, was Mai Valentine ever meant to have a bigger role in the story? We're going to go through some various details in the anime and manga that seem to hint that Mai might have been intended to be closer to the group, and maybe even a main character, and have more of a focused role overall in the series. Mai starts off the series in mostly the same level as the other antagonistic rivals, mean, arrogant, dueled and defeated by the main character, but then she actually comes back later in the arc. Let's compare that to other rival characters, like Weevil, Rex, or Mako, all gone once defeated. Of those three as well, Mai and Mako are the only ones with any backstory. However, Mako's Tsunami also just kind of vanishes after his match, while Mai becomes a series regular after her loss to Joey. And then after both those duels, she befriends the group. They have a camp out where she shares her food with them, and she goes off on her way, her cold personality slowly melting away. When she loses her duel against the player killer of Darkness, Yugi comes to rescue her and retrieves her star chips back for her, saving her from elimination. And then when Yugi's at his lowest point and seemingly has lost it all, Mai returns with her own star chips and gifts them to Yugi. But he refuses to accept them until Taya duels in his place, and Mai surrenders on that duel. Yugi and Mai face off in the finals, which is arguably the closest Yugi gets to losing, as there's 2 points where she almost wins, but doesn't. She also uses Mirror Wall, which halves attack at no cost, Shadow of Eyes, which stops all defense, and he only wins by successfully bluffing and then drawing a very important card to turn early. In fact, if he drew this card one turn later, even Blackluster Soldier could not have beaten her. See, unlike other duels, where Yugi wins resoundingly by completely destroying the opponent's strategy, here it was depicted as a real buzzer beater that could have really gone either way. After that, she forfeits her prize card to Joey, so Joey can compete in the Duelist Kingdom finals after having his card stolen by Bandit Keith, metaphorically giving up her dream to Joey. The card is just physically symbolic of that. So this all really seems to be setting up for some kind of payoff. She's skilled in the game, has saved both our protagonists from being kicked out of the tournament, and there's some unresolved shipping bait with her and Joey. Like for sure, I think she's more prominent than the other rivals, at least. But the question is, if there was all this extra content planned for her, what could it have been? Who honestly knows? You know how Yugi, Kaiba is his rival, maybe Mai would have been Joey's rival. Or maybe some kind of tritagonist role. You know how in Battle City, we tend to switch between Yugi and Joey being the focus of the duel of that week? Well, I think they might have tried a Yugi, Joey, Mai formula of switching between 3 characters instead of just 2. Or maybe more scenes were planned for after Battle City. Or really, maybe just something as basic as her just becoming a part of the main cast and becoming a support role. There are some hints to this tritagonist theory. For example, in episode 63, it opens with a shot of Joey and Yugi meeting up together to give an update on their progress. And Mai Valentine is there too. So she's there with the group, updating them on her status as well. And if Yugioh had filler like Dragon Ball Z does, this would probably be a good time for her to have a filler duel take place. Plus, Mai helps rescue the group and bring them to the pier to watch the Yuki and Joey duel, where Joey is under Merrick's control. And after that, you know the rest. She's in the Battle City Finals, duels Yami Merrick in a pretty cruel stipulation of her forgetting her friends every monster she loses. I'm not gonna lie to you, I hate this duel, for a lot of reasons. One of the most irritating in the entire series. But, that's a video for another day. Mai Valentine ends up getting put into a coma for about 50 episodes. Well, that was a bunch of character development thrown out the window for nothing. After that, she becomes a damsel in distress for Joey to rescue, which is the antithesis of her character. I mean, she's a strong, independent female character, basically relegated to being Princess Peach. Kind of an example of the women in refrigerators trope. Arguably, in my opinion, one of the hardest drop-offs of a character in any anime, and a pretty cruel moment for a breakout character. After that, she's rescued and gives her goodbyes to the group, and that's it. So really, somehow she went from a sympathetic character who was very prominent to being a damsel in distress and just being fodder for the main villain, and then basically nothing. Cast off and forgotten. A conclusion that was very unsatisfying to those of us who actually really like her character. And she gets no redemption or payoff whatsoever. Fans were frustrated by the total lack of closure that one of their favorite characters got. Now, you'll notice that I skipped a whole bunch of stuff. If you're only familiar with the anime and not the manga, that's because I only talked about manga canon chapters. We'll get to the filler stuff in a moment. But seriously, Mai Valentine is such an anomaly, as I've never really seen anything like it, to be honest. This abrupt 180 turn from relevance to just being fodder and forgotten. There's a lot of questions. Like, what becomes of the unresolved tension with her and Joey? Do they ever get together? Maybe they do, but keep in mind, this is kind of par for the course with shonen anime, as most shonen anime actually has a really terrible history with romance. Often relegated to, oh yeah, during this time skip, we got married and had a baby. That's how most of them do it. So yeah, on one hand, it does seem like maybe they plan more for her character. However, here's the counter-argument. Now, it's not totally unreasonable to think that there might have been more plans for the Mai Valentine character, considering how much development and depth she had in Duelist Kingdom. However, her role in Battle City, that could have been the whole purpose. Think about it. Since she was so sympathetic and connected with the audience, it would make it sting worse and make Merrick's introduction that more impactful. So fans would obviously hate Merrick and make him more despised as a villain. I mean, hey, it's a formula that works and has stood the test of time. This is further evidenced by the fact she doesn't return in any capacity after this. For example, there's Yugioh R, which is a spin-off of Duel Monsters. She's not there, and she's not in any of the spin-offs like GX or 5Ds. Hypothetically, Duelist Kingdom could have been intended to be her last appearance. Her giving Joey her entry card in Duelist Kingdom and having a teary goodbye, that could have been a great send-off. And then, since the next arc was another tournament, she fit into the story since obviously you need people to participate. Hence why Battle City is mostly comprised of familiar faces. Ergo, Mai has both sympathy and credibility, so she'd be a good fit for Merrick to face. If you notice, Mai actually has very little to no motivation to participate in Battle City, other than it being a tournament and her being a duelist. I mean, she had her development last arc, and her defeat gives Joey deeper motivation to fight for him. Because if you remember, at this point, Joey Wheeler, his only motivation to compete in Battle City was to prove he was equal to Yugi, hence why he is going after the opponents Yugi defeated in Duelist Kingdom. But once Mai is defeated, Joey has a very deep and meaningful reason to compete in this tournament. However, we're not done yet. I know I'm not the only person on Earth to think there was meant to be more for Mai than what was actually done in the show. You know who else shares this theory? The anime's writers and production staff. While I'm not sure how much access the anime's writers had to the pre-production materials and notes, if any, where they could have seen something that said they were supposed to promote her, but got cancelled, it is clear to me that Mai was definitely either a personal favorite of the staff and was elevated to main character status, or the writers made the same assumption I did, as it's clear the writers had some sort of soft spot for her. You want proof of this? Well, look at the Japanese opening to Battle City. There's a shot towards the end, which is a collection of all our main characters standing triumphantly. And look who's standing among them, Mai Valentine, as if she's on the main cast. Yep, there she is, featured prominently like she's a main character. And now, let's look at all of Mai Valentine's appearances in filler. In the first season, Duelist Kingdom, Mai is found in the Sword Art Online style virtual game that the group has to rescue Kaiba from. She ends up joining their party early on, helping out quite a few times, and even standing with them against the final boss of that arc, Five-Headed Dragon. She's actually the last one eliminated, so she actually outlasts Joey. Skipping ahead to Battle City, due to early Yu-Gi-Oh's lack of filler, the writers just give her a duel. She faces off with some Gustavo ripoff who wants to marry her, but she duels him, and she duels him in typical hero fashion, with all the tropes that you see in every Yugi and Joey duel, where the opponent gets a head start, but she comes from behind and wins. None of the other rivals get this. You know, Weevil and Rex, Mako, none of them get anything like this. Also, I feel like the writers might have done this as kind of just a send-off to before what happens to her with Merrick, where she's put into the coma in the Shadow Realm. You know, just so she could go out on a high note. Next, the Noah Virtual World. Now, by the time this arc comes up, Mai is actually in a coma. So obviously, she won't be appearing in this storyline, right? You'd be wrong. She makes 3 appearances. Sort of. The first time, Johnson, the lawyer of the Big Five, pretends to be her. The second time is when Joey uses her Harpy Ladies against the Big Five in a tag duel. And the Harpy Lady actually does really well. And the third time, at the end of the Virtual World arc, the group is running around Scooby-Doo style, and they run into Mai, who tries to give them a ride home. You know who didn't get mentioned in this story arc? Odeon and Bakura. They're both comatose, but they don't even get mentioned. Even as Shizu, she's not comatose, but no mention of her at all. She doesn't appear in the storyline at all here, even though she's still an active participant in the tournament. They just ignore her. Not even a cursory mention for these 3 characters. Fast forward to the Doma arc, Maya's evil again, and she's wearing an all-black version of her regular attire. Oh boy. Yeah, she's one of the main antagonists in this arc for the most part, but also redeems herself again. After that, she goes off on her own way again, and then the next arc, the Kaiba Corp Grand Prix, she's mentioned one time and then has like a walk-on cameo, and that's really it. That's the last time you see her. You know who never shows up in filler? Bakura. Trust me, look it up. Mai, despite being a side character, is in almost all the filler. Bakura, who ends up becoming the main antagonist of the entire series, makes 0 appearances. Not a 1. In fact, Mai's one of the only non-main characters to get any relevance in filler. As further evidence of my theory that the writers must have had some sort of soft spot for her, let's go back to the Merrick duel. It's actually one of the most changed duels from manga to anime. See, starting in Duelist Kingdom, the duels were translated verbatim from manga to anime. But once we get to Battle City, they start adding more chapters to it and more plays, but they keep the basic story beats the same. They just add a lot of stuff in between. while keeping the same general flow. In the manga, Merrick is the dominant duelist and the de facto winner, with Mai taking Ra as some kind of last-ditch effort to win. In the anime, Merrick plays like a total chump. I'm not joking. Look at the stats. He does no real damage to her life points whatsoever until the Ra attack that wins the duel. At most, he does a little bit of burn damage, and he also destroys only one. Yes, you heard me correctly. He destroys one monster of hers. This scary stipulation of her forgetting her friends for every monster she loses, yeah, it only comes up twice. And only one time when he destroys one of her monsters. The other time? Oh, when she destroys her own monster that Merrick took control of. That's it. That's all the damage he does until the end of that duel. In summary, was Mai supposed to have a bigger role? It's up in the air, really. And a big what if to the series. I think the anime staff might have assumed that, because literally all filler arcs involve her in some way. None of the minor rivals ever get anything like this. I think from the writer's perspective, they wanted her to be a bigger deal than she ended up being in the manga. They give her a lot of attention for a character who doesn't get as much screen time as Yugioh or Joey. Her duel with Jean-Claude Magnum felt like it was setting her up for something else, and then the Noah arc was just odd with her being in a coma but still somehow involved. And it also seems like they just totally rewrote her duel with Merrick to make her look stronger. So yeah, she definitely got more love from the anime staff than the other characters got. But I also feel like the mangaka, Kazuki Takahashi, might have just not known what to do with her, after Duelist Kingdom at least. One thing we do know is that towards the end of writing the series, Kazuki Takahashi had fallen ill and had to rush through a lot of the series, ending up with many story beats just going unresolved. It's unclear where she'd fit into the story, if at all. I do wish she could have stuck around for the final battle at least, and saw Yugi and Atem's final clash. I think the best way I describe Mai is she's like a semi-main character. You know how in a lot of television shows, you have a character credited as a guest star, but really they're as regular as any of the other protagonists? I think that's the category Mai fits in. Again, this may just be wishful thinking, since I'm such a huge fan of her, and I may have deeper feelings for her. This is all just something to think about. My final thoughts. She likely did not have plans to have more status in the original manga, but the anime kind of just ran with her being more prominent due to her popularity among fans. While she's my favorite character, I'd love to have her gotten a spin-off down the road. But it wasn't meant to be. Have a good one, folks. I'll see you next time.